All right, Council, we resume proceedings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Honorable Commissioners. I recall Mr. Edward Graham.
Alaji. Alaji. Pen.
Mr. Graham.
Yes.
You talked to the Commission about your acts. The act was amended in 2010, was it? And the two, Social Security was separated from Housing Finance Corporation. And then in 2015, they were brought back again together. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, when you talked about the composition of your board as more or less an extension of the government, given the number of public officers that were on it, you were referring to the 1981 Act. Is that correct?
No, my Honorable, I was referring to the 2015 Act, the latest Act.
The 2015?
Yes, please.
But as you know, most of the loans we are talking about, at least the ones we discussed when we were here the last time, were loans that were given between 2010 and 2014, basically. So the act that applied was the 2010 Act. Did you realize that?
The act that applied was the 2015 Act. Because the 2010 Act, whilst I was there, was not enacted as at that time.
Okay. All right, I brought a copy. Do you have a copy of the acts? Did you bring the 2010 Act, the 1981 Act?
No, I don't have a copy of that.
I have only one copy, but I'll show it to you. What I have from the act that I collected from the printers is that on the 28th of May 2010, the 1981 Act was repealed and replaced by Act number 4 of 2010. Which applied until 2015, when then you had the two parts of the corporation were consolidated again. And what I also have, I'm going to show you in a moment, as the composition of the corporation by the 2010 Act, is that you have a chairperson, the permanent secretary of the ministry, it says the governing body of the corporation is a board of directors consisting of a chairperson, the permanent secretary of the ministry, who shall be the vice chairperson, the managing director, a representative of the employees of the corporation, a representative of the employers participating in the Federated Pension Fund scheme, a representative of the employee members of the National Provident Fund, and a representative of pensioners. That's what I have. So basically, you're supposed to have 5 people who are not an extension of the public service, and a chairperson, the permanent secretary and managing director. Can you show the witness this act?
Thank you. My Honorable, may I know your question? What are you asking me?
I'd like you to confirm what act you were talking about, because last time you were here,
Yes.
you said to the question regarding the authority of the Office of the President, you said that as far as you are concerned, your act was part of an extension of the government. Your act, the constitution of your corporation was such that it was an extension of the government. And you mentioned the permanent secretaries who were there. And my question to you is, when you said all that, were you referring to the 1981 Act or the 19...
As at the time, I was referring to the 2015 Act. But notwithstanding that,
yes.
This Act that you've just given me, if you look to subsection 2
Yes.
of the section 6 of this Act, it tells you that the President shall appoint members of the board who are not ex-officio members, and after consultation with the Public Service Commission. Now, it says the same thing in the 2015 Act as section 5. In 2015 Act is at section 5 under subsection 1 and 2. Here in this Act is section 6, subsection 1 and 2. So it says practically the same thing. It's the President that appointed virtually all the members of the board, the governing body of Social Security.
Let's first clear up your testimony. You know, it's important that the testimony is consistent and accurate.
Yes.
I just want you to confirm that under that act, the permanent secretaries that you mentioned as constituting the Social Security Board were not members of the Social Security Board between 2010 and 2015.
The what?
You had said that the Social Security Board had the permanent secretary, Ministry of Finance, which it does. It also had the permanent secretary, Ministry of Local Government. It had the permanent secretary, Ministry of Trade.
Ministry of Land.
You've mentioned several permanent secretaries.
No, one permanent secretary. The permanent secretary of
Mr.
Finance.
Graham, if you listen to me, we will understand each other. Last time you were here, you mentioned several public officers, permanent secretaries, as constituting your board. And for you, that meant that really your board was an extension of the executive. I just want you to clear that when you said that, you were referring, you said, to the 2015 Act, but those permanent secretaries were not part of your board at the time that is relevant to your testimony at this time, which is from 2010 to 2015. Only one permanent secretary was on your board, and that is the permanent secretary of Finance. Is that correct?
I mentioned only 2 permanent secretaries, not several.
Okay, that's fine. The record will show.
Yes.
But could you confirm that only the permanent secretary of Finance was a member of your board between 2010 and 2015?